and they promise to be even better, hosting their Bay Area rivals from down the peninsula, the Stanford Cardinal. Promises to be a big day, and it's our first of the year. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Jim Watson alongside the Olympic gold medalist Amanda Borden. This is the first of 21 gymnastics meets live on the Pac-12 network. And, of course, we finish in Salt Lake City at the Maverick Center for the conference championships on March 29th. Let's talk about California. Great season last year. Finished second at Pac-12s. Finished seventh at the NCAA championships. Another all-star lineup, including an NCAA champion in Maya Bordas.
That's right. She was an uneven bar champion and the first national champion ever for Cal. They had a historic season with many record-breaking moments for the Cal team. And the good news is they returned Maya and 14 other athletes back to this lineup. She is planning on competing 3 out of 4 of the events. She handles pressure well, and she is a great leader. And this team is looking to start strong this year.
The only bad news for California, Kiana George, out for the year with an Achilles, Pac-12 floor champion from last year. Stanford hopes to continue last year's rapid rise. Their last 5 scores all got better. 13 new routines, but Kyla Bryant is back, a Pac-12 champion.
Well, she lights up the arena. She has incredible energy, and after a short season last year, she is so excited to be back out in action. She is scheduled in the all-around, which is great news because she can go 9-9 or better on all of the events, and she's really taken her senior role very seriously, taking the freshman class under her wing.
Stanford returns all but 2 from an improving squad, but California is coming off its best season in school history. It's the Battle of the Bay Bridge. Stanford and Cal next on the Pac-12 network. At number 33, they're a bit of a question mark because they've had some changes. But we know about California. California's got almost everybody back. They were number 7 last year. They've been ranked to the top 10 now 5 of 6 years, led, of course, by the Howells. Liz Crandall-Howell and co-head coach Justin Howell, who is not only the all-time winningest coach in school history, the best dresser in Berkeley. Can I get one of those? There's Liz. They're both in their 10th season, 7-time U.S. national team member, Liz Crandall-Howell. And the record-setting performance last year, 15 records set by this team. Now, we mentioned at the top, Kiana George is lost for the season with an Achilles. But don't feel sorry for California. This is an all-star lineup. It is deep, and there will be people to emerge to fill in those spots. For Stanford, they're coming off their first full off-season of training in a couple of years. Tabitha was telling us before, Tabitha Yim in her 5th season now at the farm. She was telling us last year they missed 2 or 3 months of training. Then when they got to train, most of it was outdoors. And then finally, they only had really a couple of weeks of intense training before their first meet of the year. There's Vince Smurl, their new assistant coach on campus at Stanford. It is Olympic order, of course, so that means California will begin on the vault as the home team, and Stanford will begin on the bars. It seems like so long ago that we've done a meet. It all feels kind of unnatural right now, doesn't it?
You know, I think the coaches and athletes feel the same way. It's like, this feels so good to be back in an arena, doing our thing, and you know, I think Tabitha said it best. You know, what everybody went through last year makes you so grateful for what you're getting to do this year, and to have the training and be able to have a season opener now. I think both teams are excited to be back out here and get into what they've been training for.
Lots of excitement in the East Bay for California. The 2021 season called historic for this team. 15 back from that squad, multiple school records, including best ever scores on the bars, beam, and floor, as well as best all-time team score. They went 197 plus in their final 11 meets, 2nd at Pac-12s, and 7th at the NCAAs. And here's how good they were last year. I actually thought the 7th place finish at the NCAAs was a bit disappointing for them because they were better than that.
Absolutely. I think this team comes in very confident. Coach Liz was telling me that one of the best things that has come from all of the obstacles is teaching this team that they can pace differently, they can train differently. All these athletes have multiple options of what to compete based on how much training they are able to have. And so it's really just opened their eyes to realize they're way more versatile and capable of handling the obstacles.
Last year, California was ranked in the top 10 on all 4 events, and that is true to begin this season as well. Mentioned before, they start on the vault. They're ranked number 9 in the vault. They were 2nd best on this event in the conference last year. The signature event for California is actually bars. They were number 1 in the country, and we'll get to that a little bit later. both Justin and Liz were telling us before the meet in separate conversations that they're very competitive in their own training on bars because they go so deep.
Well, that makes for great practicing because they know they're fighting for those spots, and they have a lot of good depth on vault. Today, they're coming out kind of playing it safe. They're doing some clean, easy vaults. They really want a comfortable and confident start to the season.
Now, missing Kiana George, of course, is going to hurt their floor lineup. She's an all-arounder as well, top 20 last year, so there's some spots open, but you recruit, and that is part of gymnastics, the injuries. For Stanford, Stanford has been a team on its way back up. Stanford, over its last 5 scores, the last 5 meets of last year, the scores got continuously better. We mentioned Kiana George a couple times. What did they lose? Well, Pac-12 champion on the floor. She had 16 victories last year, 2 on the vault, 4 on the bars, 8 on the floor, and twice won the all-around. She now has 42 wins in her career. So she'll be lost for this year, but maybe not forever.
Yeah, I know. I was super excited to see her compete this season, so it is a bummer for this team, but you'll see her on the sideline. She's an incredible leader. She will continue to cheer this team on, and the energy and experience that she brings helps the younger groups of athletes as they start their first collegiate season ever.
She understood the assignment. So for George, you know, you don't see her in a boot, you don't see her on crutches. The injury happened a while back. Of course, a lot of gymnastics fans just kind of catching up. So you see she's walking around pretty well, but that's an injury. They could rush her back. There's no reason to rush her back. They fully expect, and I fully expect her to get another year. What with COVID, what with medical red shirts, I think we're going to see Kiana George again next year. So that's good news for us. All right, clock is counting down before we get the season started. Some of the Pac-12 teams have already been in action. Arizona on Friday night, Utah with big win at home over number 3 Oklahoma. Arizona State at number 1 Michigan yesterday. We'll talk more about these meets as the day wears on. Oregon State and Washington involved in a tri-meet also last night. Stanford Cal today, and then UCLA opens its season with a meet at Minnesota. That's tomorrow, both of those teams in the top 10. Maya Bordas will be the lead-up position for California. NCAA champion on the bars, but she was pretty good on this event. She will tell you this is her most challenging event. Last year, 3 times hit 9, 8 or better. They need scores, and they need Bordas to be better on vault this year.
Well, vault is a tough event to get to that 10.0 range. Number 1, a lot of their vaults start from a 9.95, the Yurchenko layout fold, the most common vault we'll see. We'll see a lot of them today. As teams maybe have some 1.5s in their back pocket, they're going to hold out this early in the season. So the key on this event is power, height, body position, and landing.
Her best last year was a 9.85. She has a 9.9 in her career. First vault of the season.
So beautiful power. She had the height, nice extension through her hips on the layout fold. It's the hop on the landing that's going to be the deduction. When the vault starts from a 9.95, automatically she'll lose a 10th just on that part of the vault, and that gets you right into that 9.8 range real quick.
We expected to see a lot of these teams at the Collegiate Challenge, which usually leads off the season, but COVID protocols ended up scuttling that meet. So the season delayed just a couple of weeks, but compared to last year when it was delayed months, and everybody got the late start, it's a good feeling. Stanford begins on the bars. Top 50 team last year. These are all strange numbers for Stanford, a team that has a rich history in gymnastics. Expect all of these numbers to improve under Tabitha Yim as the season moves on. Wagasbach, Grace, first up, did not compete last year, but she was a Scholastic All-American. She's a veteran.
And this has been a solid routine, beautiful releases to the high bar, taking it back down, and finishing it out with a double layout. Wow, extremely close to the high bar. It looked like her feet came within inches, but it's never the goal. You want to whip that dismount out. She had beautiful form throughout this routine. A little short there on that final cast, but here on the double layout, shoulders closed just a little bit, stays very close into the bar. Took that step back, but good start for Stanford.
We'll set the scores as we go. Grace was pretty good on the bars a couple of seasons ago, 9.8 or better 4 times, so expecting a number in that neighborhood. There's Maya Bordas with the opening 9.775. And Andy Lee, we expect to go all around today. Gets her program started with a beautiful vault. Good stuff.
Yeah, if you watch the difference between those first two vaults, that had more power, which gave her the distance. So it looked like she had a small leg separation in the middle. So remember, the judges see this so quickly, it's hard for them to catch. But right as she leaves the table, you can see her legs split just a little bit. But the distance and the landing much cleaner on that vault.
She wasn't a regular in the vault lineup to begin last year, but then came in and scored well. All 5 of her vaults at the end of the year were 9.8 or better. Twice she went 9.875. That should be well above 9.8 or at least to the 9.8 mark. August back goes 9.775, so the teams match each other's opening score. And here's Maddie Burnett. Now, Maddie can go all around, but she's going to go 3 today, vault, bars, and floor. No beam. Only 3, or excuse me, only twice last year, she got 9.8 or better on this event.
Release combination right at the top. Delta flip. Connected down to the overshoot. A little short there on that handstand. And a perfect landing on the double layout. There's key things the judges look for on each event. When it comes to the uneven bars, it's just about the form and hitting those vertical lines. Of course, the major releases and the good form in the air. But she came up just a little short there on that final handstand. But finished solid double layout, knew exactly where she was.
Maddie Burnett last year, vault, bars, and floor in most of the meets. We expect her to follow a similar program this year. Andy Lee goes 9.75. I thought Andy Lee was going to get more than that. Well, it only took me, what, 4 routines to start criticizing the score.
Nice ball by Nina. Sean? You know, every year we go through this. You know, what do the judges see that we don't? Well, they are experts, but this is their first major meet of the season as well, probably. And ultimately, the goal in these lineups is that each vault is just getting a little bit better. And I agree. I felt like that score was a little low, but I do think Nina's going to notch into that 9.8.
Nina was great. She not only won this event last year, 9 of her 11.
This
didn't take long. We don't expect to see her for the rest of the day. Maya Bordas. Well, she's the NCAA champion reigning on this event.
High flipping Jaeger, big amplitude down to the low bar on the shoot over. Perfection right there. Finishing giant full, double tuck, up to her tippy toes. Wow.
Bordas was part of that historic bars rotation against UCLA last year when California put up an unreal 49.825 to tie the all-time NCAA record.
It's details like that handstand that you just saw right there that get you to those high scores. You have to be able to do it all. The high-flying releases, you got to fight for your landings, you got to hit your handstand. And the fact that Cal is coming out in the first meet of the year going for all of it means, you know what? They want to hold on to the #1 ranking on that event.
Watching Janelle McDonald in the background there, assistant coach for California, got off the floor about 15 different times. 9.875 for Brian, who's out of the gates quickly today. Just what you want to see. Ana Paula Gutierrez introduced herself with the 9.8 and bars in the first rotation. JO national champion on the vault in 2019.
Oh.
Comes up short and sits it down.
I saw her warming it up. She came up short a few times in the warm-up, so I wasn't sure they were going to go for it. But that may have been why they moved her from the 3rd spot down to the anchor, trying to keep the momentum, the energy, the 1.5 twist. Again, those forward landings, if you come up short, your hips are too far behind your heels, and of course you sit it down. So it's great to see Stanford going for that level of difficulty. That is what it takes to keep notching them up.
We'll check their score in a moment on that. They're noticing the drop Gutierrez. Prior to that, their lowest was a 9.675. Maya Green. Maya Green was getting better on this event as the season wore on. Her scores continued to rise throughout.
Getting her a little close to the bar, very similar to the mistake we saw with Nina, but she had enough momentum to carry it out and finish in combination Clear up handstand, full twisting double back.
And held that landing for the judges. She had a 9.875 on this routine at Utah last year. That was her high water mark.
So her opening release. This is actually her dismount, clear hip, directly connected into the full twisting double back. And put an exclamation point right there. Hey, I may have been close on the release move, but I'm going to finish with perfection, give you no more room to take deductions.
California last year averaged better than a 49.6 at the end of the season per rotation on bars. And we mentioned against UCLA the 49.825, which tied the NCAA record all time, which was held by UCLA. All 6 scores for California that day were 9.9. So they actually dropped a 9.9. And there you saw Justin Howell walking around checking the apparatus, making sure everything was tied down. But again, before they came here, California was ranked 41st in the country on bars. And now they've been #1 in the nation for 18 months. You know, it's the confidence, too, when you talk to Justin, when you talk to Liz. They're expecting it now. And it's not a demanding way. They just know that they've raised the bar so much here in Berkeley. The type of athletes are getting, the talent that's on campus now. They're expecting to be there. They think they're on the level with UCLA, with Oregon State, certainly with Utah, that they can compete, they can win this conference.
You can see it in the way the athletes perform. They're going for the difficulty. They're going for the perfection, and that's what it's going to take, absolutely.
In the preseason poll, Utah was the selection and got 6 first-place votes. UCLA was 2nd, California was 3rd. But if you went inside the numbers, California was only 1 point behind UCLA as the 2nd favorite in the conference. Going to be a great year.